Hello, my name is Mario. Welcome to another Go video. In today's episode, I'm sharing with you 3 things I don't like about the Go programming language. For more context, I've been using Go professionally since 2015. I built a lot of services in the past and I'm currently still using it. The 3 things I'm going to be showing you are not in a specific order, and I have more than 3 to share with you, so this is the first part of many to come. Let's talk about the first one, Overridable exported variables. As usual, the link to the code is in the description of this video, so feel free to check that out. I have this module called bonus that happens to be calculating a bonus and provides a default instance that returns some values and allows you to return some bonus calculation. I have 2 folders in this case because the first one will demonstrate the default implementation and the second one will show you my recommendations. So let's jump into the first version, which will be the default one, and you will notice that this is not too complicated. There is a default instance of an exported variable that has a calculator type. The calculator type provides a function to initialize the calculator. It happens to receive a map, and this map, what it has is hypothetically some names and some percentage of a bonus that we are having in our company. So in this case, Mario is having 10% of bonus and Ruby is having 15% of bonus. Now, if we take that package and we import it in our own main package in a different repository, you will notice that, of course, we can call the default implementation and call percentage. And you will notice, if you recall, and if we go back to the example, you will see that right here, Mario returns 10 and Ruby returns 15, which are the percentages I just mentioned a while ago. What is interesting in Go is that if you take a look at these 2 lines, you will notice that I now can override the default values that were exported in the other package. Now, if we run it, you will see that, of course, it's printing out the default values that we had before, but now it's printing out the values that we modified when we imported the package. Let me show you the code one more time. You will notice that now Ruby has 300 and Mario had 200, and the default value, of course, now it changed to 500. So this changes a little bit the way exported variables work. So as Go programmers, what can we do to avoid having a situation like this? If I'm the one implementing a new package and I want to provide a default implementation, I want to avoid using exported variables. What I'd like to recommend is implementing a new default function. That way, every time the default function is called, it will return a different instance type, and you cannot override an exported function. If I happen to have default values that are using basic types, we can define it as a constant, and although it's an exported variable, it cannot be replaced. If you notice, the implementation is still the same. If I go back to the main package, I can use it in a similar way without overriding the exported variables. Let me show you. So in this case, I'm calling the default function. Of course, it's returning a different instance every single time. With the default values, it is printing out the values that we are expecting as the default ones that you define in your other module. However, if I try to replace them, of course, I cannot do that. So that way you can avoid having issues where you have exported variables that can be modified by those packages that happen to be imported in. Another thing I don't like about Go is the way we keep track of the test dependencies in the same Go mod. There is no way to differentiate test dependencies. So in some cases you have more test dependencies than the ones that you actually use for building your final artifact. Let me show you. The example that I have here is a repository package using the Postgres database. In this example, I define a type called user that just creates and gets a user, just to keep things simple. It happens to be using the Golang migrate tool as well as Docker test for integration testing. And if you go and read the go.mod file, you will notice that I happen to have a ton of dependencies. You will notice that I have 479 dependencies. This includes the tool dependencies as well as the test dependencies, and of course the dependencies that I need to build my artifact. What I don't like is that we cannot differentiate between the test packages and the ones that we use for building our normal artifact. There is an actual proposal to include a section, perhaps similar to the way the Go tool works, and then you can differentiate those sections. To me, it's important because in some cases there are vulnerabilities that are applicable only to test packages that in a way don't have a higher priority compared to the ones that are used by your binary or your artifact itself. So there is a way to prioritize things. Alright, let's talk about the last thing I don't like about Go in this episode. The third thing I don't like about Go is the switch statement. Yes, I know everybody loves the switch statement. However, in Go, there are some things to call out. Let's start with the switch statement and how it works. In Go, a switch statement allows you to group similar conditionals using the same expression. However, this expression is not enforced, and this is the thing I don't like about Go. Okay, let's look at this example. This is a pretty straightforward, and it's actually telling me, hey, look at this. You have a bunch of things that could be using switch instead of having a bunch of if and else. So if we refactor this, you will notice that now it is converted in a switch statement using the case values that happen to be the if conditionals in the past. This makes a lot of sense because we have an expression that happens to be a value that we receive in here. So we can go through each statement, each expression, and everything looks nice. Now let me show you another example. In this second example, I have a value function that receives a string and returns a string and an error depending on the logic that is implemented in that function. It's pretty straightforward. If the length is 0, it returns error empty. If it's greater than 5, it says it's too long. If you pass in hello, it returns world. If you pass in world, it returns hello. And if you pass in anything else, it just says hi. Nothing too complicated. However, because switch doesn't enforce the expressions, you can do something like this. You can have this block of text, and this is valid go. And the problem I have with this is that we are intertwining the check of errors, the check of the strings that were returned, if there was an error, and a default value. These are 4 different things. You may be thinking, Mario, well, nobody does this. I have seen this in real life. And this is why I don't like the way Go uses switch, but I do get it why they did it that way, because they wanted to support things like this. However, it could be a problem when engineers come in and implement something like this. There is no linter, to my knowledge, that detects something like this. However, the only thing I can recommend you is, if someone needs something like this, you perhaps can recommend, hey, create different switches or different blocks that happen to be applicable to the thing you're testing. Are you testing for errors? Create a switch. Are you testing for the value of the return string? Create that one. Are you testing only for the return string as the default one? Go for it. I know this may be a nitpick, but it bothers me when I see the code in real life. It's like, come on, we can do better. And that's it. That's all I have. Those are 3 of the many things I don't like about Go. I know, like I told you, I've been doing this professionally since 2015. I think Go is a great programming language, but it's not perfect. Share with me what are the things you don't like about Go. I could cover those in a future episode. And as usual, take care, stay safe. See you. Talk to you next time. Bye bye.